Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Baseball Podcast. It is a Friday today, as we are going to finish up the week with some talk on baseball, as we're going to do some talk on the Giants. I don't really bring up the Giants. I know they're my team. I do have to announce that I am a Giants fan, but not a Giants homer, at least on this show, at least. But we are going to do some Giants talk as they have become a little more relevant. Madison Bumgarner is back from his injury, and he pitched on Tuesday, I believe, and he'll be pitching again next week. So we'll do some talk on the Giants a little bit, also recap the games from Thursday and Wednesday, do some talk on the Cubs. I know they had a big win on Wednesday, a big walk-off win, a walk-off grand slam for Jason Hayward on Wednesday for the Cubs. They beat the Phillies 7-5 there at Wrigley Field. And then also the AL East continues to be the talk of the town, because the best two teams in the league are both in the AL East, according record-wise at least. I think the Brewers did lose 3 in a row, so they're not quite there just to keep in pace with the old best record in baseball. But the Yankees and the Red Sox just basically trading places on a week-to-week basis or a day-to-day basis out there in the East Coast for the American League. So we'll talk about that as well in the middle segments. But first, we're going to recap the games from Wednesday and Thursday. No, it's a short slate on Thursdays. Teams had their off days, but Wednesday we had some good ones to go over as well, as we'll jump right into that now and do the scores and highlights from Wednesday. First, as we had a full slate of games. First off, in San Francisco, the Giants were able to beat the Diamondbacks after trailing 4-2 going into that bottom of the ninth inning. They had 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, and Alan Hansen, who just actually came off the deal as well for the Giants, but he was a guy who came into spring training, wasn't really sure if he was going to make a team, ended up making the team, and he's been a nice addition for the Giants. Had a little bit of an issue with a hamstring, just came back, and comes back and hits a game-tying pinch hit 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth inning to make it 4-4. The Giants would win in the bottom of the 10th with a walk-off single by Brandon Crawford. I was going to say Brandon Crawford with the walk-off hit there to knock in Andrew McCutchen and get the 5-4 win for the Giants in that one. And that was I believe that wasn't a Bumgarner start. That was Bumgarner started on Tuesday. The Giants had Chris Stratton go. He only lasted 4 innings because of that's just National League Baseball. He didn't pitch terribly. He allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 4 innings work. I think it was just his spot came up in the order, and he kind of they had to take him out, or it's a situational situation that brought him out in the 4th inning. In the nation's capital, the Nationals beat the Rays. Also, speaking of the nation's capital, one of the little hockey shout out really quick. Congratulations to the Washington Capitals for winning the Stanley Cup, the first in their franchise's history. Alex Ovechkin must have been partying hard in Vegas last night as they beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-3 yesterday to get the Stanley Cup but just for the first time bringing the Stanley Cup to Washington, as the Nationals, the baseball team, the Washington Nationals versus the Washington Capitals, and come up with those names, those clever names for the teams in our nation's capital. But the Nationals, they did beat the Rays 11-2 on Wednesday behind a nice pitching performance from Tanner Roark, who actually got the start in this one as he went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts to give up a home run to C.J. Crone, a solo shot. But it was all about the bats for the Nationals today. They didn't hit a home run, but they got a bunch of doubles. Anthony Rendon had 2, Michael A. Taylor, and then Juan Soto, that young 19-year-old there, He got his fourth double on the year. And then Trey Turner had 2 hits in this one. and Michael A. Taylor had 3 hits, actually. He's trying to get that average up a little bit, as the Nationals scored 5 in the first inning and 4 in the 6th inning to blow that one open. They won 11-2 there. At a low-scoring affair, it was the Orioles and the Mets. I highlighted this game on Wednesday. Dylan Bundy start versus the other young starter, Zach Wheeler. Both pitched excellent in this one, as Wheeler went 7 shutout innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And Bundy went 7 shutout innings as well, allowed 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. I thought the exact same line. Bundy just had 2 more walks. Both guys got into a decision as the Mets scored a run, the Orioles scored a run in the top of the 8th inning. Manny Machado was sacrifice fly to give them the 1-0 lead, and they were able to hold on and get the win there in New York. Brewers dropped 1 to the Indians, 3-1. The interleague series between 2 first-place teams was a good one, but Carlos Carrasco outdueled Chase Anderson in this one, as they got the 3-1 victory. Cleveland scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning to take the lead, and they would hold on to it there. Carlos Carrasco went 7 innings of 1-run ball, 8 hits allowed, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts for Carrasco. Anderson only lasted 4 1/3 innings because he gave up those 3 runs there in the 5th. 4 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts for him in this one, as the Indians, like I said, they strung a couple singles together, or a single and a double and a walk to score runs in that game, and they get the win. Another 3-1 victory. Padres beat the Braves behind a nice pitching performance from their starter. It only lasted about 2 innings. I mean, some of these guys, you think they're going to keep going. They only allowed 1 run on 2 1/3 innings. I guess it was kind of like one of those spot starts, go with the bullpen. But it worked out as then you had Kirby Yates and Brad Hand finish off the game pitching 2 innings each of seeming almost perfect ball, but only a couple of base runners, but no shutout 4 innings at the end of that game with the 2 relievers there. Gets the Padres the win over they're still in first place too, the Braves, at least as of now. It could be dropped. I mean, I think the Nationals did tie them up. They're both at that's virtually in first place. I mean, Nationals do have like a .002 percentage better in the old win percentage, but basically a virtual tie at first place there. Pirates beat the Dodgers 11-9 at home in this one on Wednesday, as it was a barrage in this one, as no home runs for the Pirates, but they scored 11 runs in this one, as they got a bunch of doubles and RBI hits. The Dodgers, as far as home runs go, got one from Cody Bellinger, his 10th, and Matt Kemp also his 10th of the season, but they dropped this one, like I said, 11-9. Yankees shut out the Blue Jays. This actually went into 13 innings. The Yankees scored 3 runs on the top of the 13th innings after both teams went scoreless through 12. It was the starters for this one, obviously gets no decisions. Gaviglio for the Blue Jays. Sam Gaviglio went 7 shutout innings, allowed 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Sonny Gray went 8 shutout innings, allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Both guys could just use a little bit of support and would have been just fine, but they both get no decisions after their shutout performances. The bullpens also were great, as the Yankees were able to hold on in the bottom of the 13th and win that one 3-0. The Rockies beat the Reds 6-3 on Wednesday, as they got some errors and some help from the Reds, but were able to win that game. Romano got the start for the Reds. He went 5 innings, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Did give up a home run in this one. That was to Ian Desmond, his 11th of the year, 2-run shot. John Gray pitched well, got the win, and went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for him. He gets his 6th win of the season. In Boston, the Red Sox beat up on the Tigers 7-1. Eduardo Rodriguez, his 7th win on the season. That guy, he's pitching very nicely. The left-hander there also gets some pretty good run support, as he went 5 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. It was the starter for the Tigers was the young, I think it was a left-hander, right-hander, young left-hander Blaine Hardy came in and took the loss, but he gave up 5 runs on 8 hits over 6 innings of work. So Red Sox tagged him pretty good there. And the home runs for the Red Sox, Andrew Benintendi his 10th, and Christian Vasquez his 2nd of the season for the Red Sox. In Texas, in Arlington, it was the A's and Rangers. Rangers beat the A's 8-2 in this one. Bartolo Colon gets his 243rd career victory, his third on the season this year. As he pitched very nicely, went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, did give up a home run to Chris Davis, his 15th on the season. That was the only 2 runs he allowed. In that game, the Rangers, their bats came out. Jurickson Profar hit 2 home runs, his 5th and 6th home run of the year. First inning off Megden, he hit a 2-run shot, and then also off Megden, his solo shot in the 3rd. Joey Gallo hit his 17th, and Guzman his 7th of the season, as the Rangers get the win there at home. I said this was the Cubs-Phillies game. I talked about it at the beginning of the show a little bit here. The Cubs got the win 7-5 on the walk-off grand slam by Jason Hayward after the Phillies scored 2 in the top of the 9th inning to tie that game. It was 3-3. Or to take the lead, I'm sorry. It was 3-3 pretty much the whole game going into that late innings. The Phillies scored 2 in the top of the 9th to take the lead. But with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th inning, Jason Hayward got that ball into the bleachers in right center field to win that game. It was a Dylan Cousins homer, his first homer to take the lead for the Phillies, but all for naught. As like I said, Jason Hayward got the home run late in that one. Anthony Rizzo also hit his 9th of the season for the Cubs. In that game, Aaron Altair hit his 6th for the Phillies. That was an Aaron Nola start. I mean, the starters actually kind of get lost on the wayside here. Aaron Nola went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, gave up 1 home run. Jose Quintana pitched very nicely. He went 5 2/3 innings, but allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts for the lefty. But they both get no decisions in this one. The White Sox beat the Twins 5-2 as they were able to score 4 runs in the 6th inning to take the lead in this one, and they would not give it up. Hector Santiago gets his 2nd win of the season, beating Jake Odorizzi in this one. The White Sox did not hit a home run in this game. They did score those 4 runs in the 6th inning on a wild pitch, a single, and a sacrifice bunt. They scored those 4 runs. Astros beat the Mariners 7-5 as they come back and tied or at least get within 1 game out there in the AL West. As that was a quick 2-game series between the 2 teams, kind of an odd series for division rivals. But the Astros get the win there 7-5. They scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th inning to take the lead in that one. And the Mariners tried to come back. They scored 1 in the 8th, but that was not enough. As far as, home runs in this game, Evan Gattis hit his 9th of the season for the Astros. Nelson Cruz hit his 11th, Denard Span his 5th, and Kyle Seager his 11th of the season for the Mariners in the loss. Wade LeBlanc only lasted 4 innings, but he only gave up 3 runs, but 7 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Did give up a home run. The Gaddis, Lance McCullers Jr. went 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 4 total on 7 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts to give up a couple home runs in that one. But the Astros had the win. McCullers no decision as the bullpen was able to hold on and get the victory there. Marlins beat up on the Cardinals 11-3. As the Miami Marlins, like I said, they scored 3 runs in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th after scoring 3 in the 3rd. As they beat up on the Cardinals pitching staff in this one, the Marlins hit Derek Dietrich hit a home run, and then Brinson hit 2 home runs, his 8th and 9th of the season for the Cardinals. For the Marlins. As I think the Cardinals had Judd Jerko go out there and pitch an inning, and he gave up a home run. We had a position alert for position player pitching in a blowout, but Cardinals would take the loss that one. And then the final game of the day on Wednesday, as this has been taking up the whole segment here, the Angels beat the Royals 4-3 after they scored all their runs in the 5th, 6th, and the 7th innings. Kansas City tried to come back a little bit in the 8th, but the bullpen was able to hold the line there as we said the Angels, they used the long ball in this one to get ahead. Home runs by Ian Kinsler, his 6th, and Justin Upton, his 14th of the year for the Angels. Shohei Ohtani pitched on Wednesday. He went 4 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. We'll talk about him a little bit, why he only lasted 4 innings, but only 63 pitches, and he was done. But the bullpen was able to come in and hold the line. Ohtani gets no decision because he didn't qualify. Obviously, you got to pitch 5 at least and have the lead, but I guess Mike Scioscia didn't think that he could continue only 4 innings there, as he was all right. I mean, that's not terrible. That's not amazing, but it's interesting why he was. I guess they're coming out and saying that he had the blister again, and he had to be removed because of that blister developing on his pitching hand again. So, I mean, that's tough. And, yeah, being a pitcher myself, I know blisters can be really annoying because you think that they're going to callus over, then they come back and the skin gets soft, and it's really painful. You can't really do anything. You can't get any feel of your pitches, especially when you throw such a devastating splitter like he does. You're really forcing that ball in between your fingers, and you can get some. It won't feel good, and it's not. You can't pitch with it. So, that makes sense why he came out when he did. All right, we'll come back and do the games really quickly for Thursday, and then go into some talk on the Giants, Cubs, AL East. We'll do that all throughout the second and third segments before we will highlight and preview and highlight some pitching matchups for you coming up this weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast. As we are going to go over the games from Thursday, a 10-game slate for Thursday, as we'll start off in Cincinnati, a walk-off victory for the Reds, and this one is they beat the Rockies 7-5. They scored 2 in the bottom of the 13th to get the walk-off win. It was Jesse Winker's first career home run that gave them the walk-off win. It's quite a moment there for your first home run, if you're a rookie. I mean, that's got to be a big deal. It's got some big Gatorade poured on him. As it was a late run by the Reds to make that game go into extra innings. Obviously, the starter for the Rockies was, I think it was Tyler Anderson. He pitched pretty well, went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, but the bullpen was not able to hold on as it was tied. Let's see, it was 5-5 going into the. It was actually 4-5 going in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Reds scored a run in the bottom of the 9th to tie that game and send it to extras on a wild pitch by Wade Davis, their closer. Kirk Casale scored and made it 5-5. The Reds also scored a run in the bottom of couple runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to make it close, where they could come back and then win it in the bottom of the 13th inning with that home run by Winker. All right, any other home runs in that game I just want to touch on really quick? It was Winker's second of. Actually, he says, I don't know why he says first career home run was a walk-off. It was his second of the year. Weird. It can't be his first career home run. First career walk-off home run. There we go. That makes more sense. Dodgers beat the Pirates 8-7. Jock Peterson hit 2 home runs. Cody Bellinger hit his 11th of the year as they were able to. It was a lot of late scoring. Dodgers scored runs in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. They scored 1 in the 4th, 5th, and 6th each, and then 2 each in the 7th and 8th. And to make it 8 total, the Pirates kept pace with them. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th, and then to make it 8-6, and then also 1 in the bottom of the 9th, but they could not get the tying run home. Kelly Jansen was able to shut the door after giving up that home run to Francisco Cervelli to make it 7-8, but not enough. For the Pirates, also got a home run from Diaz, his 4th of the year, that is, for the Pirates. In Minnesota, the Twins beat up on the White Sox 7-2 in this one, as James Shields went 6 innings, but gave up 7 runs. I mean, it's weird sometimes. You see these pitchers. I mean, some of these managers let their pitchers out to dry. I mean, not let them out to dry. It's like, it's your game, buddy. Like, you're going to go 6 innings no matter what. Like, you can give up 7 runs, but you're still going to go 7 innings. I mean, he did give up 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and then 4 in the fourth. and ended up keep going 2 more innings after that. I guess the bullpen was a little taxed, and the White Sox needed some more innings out of Shields. Jose Berrios went 9 innings, complete game for him in the win. Allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts for Berrios, as he got the 7th win on the season. And the Twins, like I said, got the victory there. Home runs by Eduardo Escobar, his 12th of the season. Eury Ajianja hit his 2nd of the year, and then Eddie Rosario hit his 14th on the year for the Twins. In St. Louis, the Cardinals beat the Marlins 4-1. In this one, an excellent pitching performance from Miles Mikolas. He gets his 7th win of the season as he gets right back in the win column there after taking his first loss in the year. He went 7 innings, allowed 1 run, unearned actually. It was 1 unearned run on 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And he got some nice run support as Jose Martinez hit his 6th of the year, and Voit hit his 1st of the year. And that was a solo shot, make it 4-1, that is. And the Cardinals with a win. Cubs beat the Phillies 4-3 after the day after they walk off in the bottom of the 9th inning with that grand slam to get the win 4-3, and another tight one. The Cubs made it 4-1 before the Phillies made it 4-3, and they scored 2 in the 6th, but they could not come back in the rest of that game. Home run Anthony Rizzo hit his 10th of the season, and for the no home runs for the Phillies in this one, as Nick Pivetta pitched. He went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Gave up that home run to Rizzo. He took the loss. Tyler Chatwood did not pitch long enough to get the win. He went 4 2/3 innings as that's again National League Baseball. He got taken out in the middle of an inning. I guess Madden, the manager there for the Joe Madden was for the Cubs, just felt like he could not get out of that 5th inning. Actually, I think the Phillies had already scored a run to make it 1-1. So that was when it was a 1-1 ball game, and he came out of that game before the Cubs scored 3 runs in the bottom half of that inning. Toronto beats the Orioles in the next game. They walk off in the bottom of the 10th inning. A couple walk-offs today, and one yesterday. A couple yesterday. On Wednesday as well. So a bunch of walk-offs the last 2 days in Major League Baseball, which is always exciting. They win 5-4 in this one. It was I believe it was a Aledmys Diaz single that scored that run and got them the victory. A bunch of home runs in this game, as the Blue Jays got a home run from Curtis Granderson, his 5th of the season. The Orioles got home runs from Danny Valencia, his 6th, Mark Trumbo, his 3rd, and Wins hit his 1st of the season for the Orioles, the young catcher there for Baltimore, Austin Wins. In Boston, the Tigers beat the Red Sox. Beat the Red Sox 7-2 after getting beat up. It was a Boyd, Tyler Boyd, I think was the starter there. Matthew Boyd, the left-hander for the Tigers was excellent. Went 6 7/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Did give up a home run to Andrew Benintendi. That was his 11th of the year, but that was really the biggest blemish on his report card. The Red Sox had to do a spot start in this one as they brought up Jalen Beeks, another left-hander, to make the start. He went 4 innings, allowed 6 runs on 7 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Also gave up a home run in this one. That was to Leonis Martin, his 8th on the season, as the Tigers get the win in Boston, 7-2. In Tampa Bay, the Mariners get another win as they continue to roll along. 5-4 was the victory in Tampa Bay as they come off that series with the Astros and roll right into Tampa Bay to get the win 5-4, like I said, and keep pace in the first place in the American League West. Where I'm going to do a little bit of talk on the American League West here in these middle segments as well, along with American League East, as those 2 divisions are really flip-flopping on top a lot in this one. For the Mariners, Denard Span, who was against his former team, just was on the Rays seemingly 2 weeks ago after he was traded there by the Giants in the offseason, in the offseason for Evan Longoria. But he was traded again to the Mariners, and he had his 6th home run of the season. Mitch Haniger hit his 13th of the year for the Mariners as they backed up Mike Leake, who pitched very nicely. 8 innings, allowed 2 runs on 8 hits, 1 walks, 3 strikeouts. He gave up the one home run. That was to Robertson, the shortstop for the Royal Rays there. Young shortstop Daniel Robertson hit his 1st of the year for the Rays as They again did that. They started with Kevin Cash, who's still rolling with this, starting with a reliever as Stanek came in, pitched 1 inning, allowed 1 hit and 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Got through that first inning, and then they gave it to the, I guess, a starter or a long relief, what do you want to call him? Austin Pruitt came in, pitched 7 innings, allowed 5 runs on 7 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and 2 home runs for the Mariners. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they're doing that. I don't know how Kevin Cash really expects us to work continuing on. All right. Astros beat the Rangers 5-2 in Texas. The Battle of Texas is starting up, as I think they're going to do it. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-game series over the weekend. Astros and Rangers, as Garrett Cole gets his 7th win on the season. He beats Cole Hamels. Garrett Cole versus Cole Hamels in this one, as Hamels went 7 1/3 innings, allowed 5 runs on 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Gave up a couple of home runs to one to Evan Gattis, his 10th, and then the other one to Alex Bregman, his 7th on the season, as they backed up Garrett Cole, who went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, and the bullpen for the Astros was very good, as they did not allow a run. Well, Ken Giles gave up 1 run in the 9th inning, but that didn't matter, as they already had the game was already in hand at that point. And then the final game on a Thursday, as this is run through this segment, as we're going to have to pack a bunch of stuff into this end of the segment and then the next one. The A's beat the Royals at home behind an excellent pitching performance from their young starter, Blackburn. They brought him up to get it going. Paul Blackburn comes up and gets the start for the A's, as he went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, just gave up the home run. The 1 run he gave up, that was Alcides Escobar, his 3rd of the season. But that was the only run that the young right-hander for the A's gave up. Matt Olson hit his 13th of the season, as he continues to tear the cover off the ball, and he was the big run support for the A's. There was a solo shot that was in the 3rd inning to tie the game, and the A's scored 3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. A Matt Chapman double, Marcus Semien single, and a Stephen Piscotty single got those 3 runs scored and got the A's the victory. All right. That'll wrap it up for the recaps, as that's almost taken us through the half of the show. A bunch of games. I thought it was a shortest, not that much of a shorter slate on Thursday. Usually just 5 games less than usual, as we're going to get ready for a big weekend in baseball. Some good series, Giants and Nationals. As we're going to talk, we'll talk about that now, actually, because I'm going to talk about the Giants and the fact that, they got Madison Bumgarner back. They're still waiting, obviously, Johnny Cueto having to go get that second opinion for his elbow to see if Tommy John surgery was needed. Dr. James Andrews said that he didn't think it was needed yet. The strain was not severe enough, and they maybe some rest and rehab could rehab that on its own, not having to do the surgery. So I think the Giants are expecting Cueto back maybe the end of July, mid-July. So we'll see what happens there. But Bumgarner is back after taking that line drive off the hand. He pitched on Tuesday. I went over that game on Wednesday. He did take the tough luck loss because the Giants could not score any runs off Patrick Corbin, but they were able, fortunately, to take that series from the Diamondbacks, as they have now supplanted themselves. They're back to 500 again, 31-31, tied deadlock with the Dodgers for 3rd place in the National League West. Rockies at 32-30 are a half game back of the Diamondbacks, who are 32-29. As that division is, from top to bottom, that's the closest. Maybe the American League West, where the Rangers are 13.5 back, but from top to bottom, the Padres are in 5th place, and they're 4.5 games back. So that's also a testament to the fact that the Padres have won 7 of the last 10. They're playing good baseball right now, and just had a nice series against the first place Atlanta Braves, or at least they're tied for first place right now. As the Nationals have really leapfrogged themselves. They've won 2 in a row. They've won 7 of the last 10 as well. They're 35-25. And we remember when we were all complaining and be like, "Oh gosh, the Nationals, they can't even get to 500. They're muddling around 500." Well, they're 10 games over, as they have really hit their stride. Obviously, helps when you can get a top 3 starters like Strasburg, Scherzer, and Gonzalez, or whether you want to say Scherzer, Strasburg, Gonzalez in the order of, how good they are, at least right now. But talking about a mismatch, I was saying Nationals Giants this weekend. So the Giants are going to be putting up 2 rookies and Derek Holland as their starters. It's going to be today in Washington. It'll be Andrew Suarez, a rookie, against Steven Strasburg, and then on Saturday it'll be Derek Rodriguez, who is Pudge Rodriguez, is Ivan Rodriguez, the legendary catcher for the Tigers and Rangers, a bunch of different teams, Hall of Fame catcher. But that's his kid. Derek Rodriguez got his first major league victory in his first major league start last time out. But he'll be facing Gio Gonzalez, and then on Sunday it'll be Derek Holland against Max Scherzer. Which, I mean, Holland actually he's been up and down. He's been good the last few times out, but that's a mismatch. I mean, Max Scherzer's 10-1 with a 1.95 ERA versus Holland is 3-6 with a 4.91. We'll go over those games in the final segment, but just going over that, the Giants got a tough road trip going on. Hopefully they can get going on with the Mariners, but they've been playing good ball. They did sweep the Phillies, had a nice home stand, and it took 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks, first place Diamondbacks, over the beginning of the week. So gotta like what they're doing. Get some walk-offs. I mean, Buster Posey hasn't quite got the power yet. They're still waiting on Brandon Belt to come back. Obviously, Brandon Belt he's been one of the best hitters in the National League, and then of course he has to go get an appendix surgery. So I mean, this is kind of what happens every year to Belt. I mean, whether he breaks his thumb or he gets a concussion or just gets a random appendix surgery and has to be out for 2 weeks is kind of something that seems to happen to him every year. But the Giants have been getting great production actually since he's been gone from Pablo Sandoval, and we'll do some more talk on Pablo for just a little bit when we come back after the break, so stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast. Third segment of the day today. This is usually the segment where I'm just going to talk. First 2 segments usually get some scores in there, do some little jibber jab at the end of the second segment, and then this one I just kind of talk about we're going to talk about the Giants, talk about the Cubs, we're talking about the American League East, and probably the AL West, as well as the Mariners and Astros are going to be, I think Astros eventually, they're more fit for the marathon. I think the Mariners are more of a sprint team where they're going to sprint out there. They got a little bit of a lead. Obviously, they got hot, 1-7 the last 10, and 3 in a row. Or actually, no, not 3 in a row. But they did win their last game after dropping that one to the second game of that 2-game series to the Astros. But I feel like with that rotation, I'm sorry, you get a matchup against them every time. The Astros rotation, I mean, I think they did have to deal with a little bit of injury issues, but you got Verlander, Cole, Keuchel, McCullers, Morton. I mean, sorry, I can't. I mean, you got James Paxton, yeah, he's great. Michael Gonzalez, sorry, and King Felix. Mike Leake, really? I mean, King Felix, yeah, if he's on, I've also seen. I've been to a game in San Francisco where Felix got absolutely rocked. So, yeah, we'll see what happens out there in the American League West. We'll do some talk about that at the end of the, probably closer to the end of this segment. But quickly, just a little bit on Pablo. Pablo Sandoval has been a nice little addition for the Giants as he comes back to play with the team that got him into the spotlight. I mean, what he did in 2012, obviously, was legendary. Won a Babe Ruth Award, which is the MVP of the postseason in 2012, after hitting 3 home runs off of Justin Verlander, or 2 off of Justin Verlander, but 3 total in that game. As he gets on that list with Albert Pujols and Babe Ruth and Reggie Jackson as the only guys ever to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. But, of course, he gets the you don't want to forget about that, but some people do forget about it because, he got the big contract for the Red Sox and couldn't do anything. And the Red Sox first round pick comes out and says something about weight and how he's not going to have the weight issues. I'm like, dude, slow down. You haven't played anything in professional baseball yet. Stop throwing people. I mean, go look at his stats. I mean, go look at the numbers he's put up over the last, this whole season. I mean, go look. I mean, you can pull up Pablo's stats. Went right in sec here. I mean, just giving you what his lines are. He's been great. I mean, he's been great in the clutch, in the pinch hit situations. I mean, he's hitting 282. I mean, 103 at bats, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. I mean, he's hitting 777 on base. I mean, OPS. I mean, that's pretty good for only 103 at bats on the season, and 4 homers. I mean, he's hit 2 in the last few days as well. So, I mean, he's hit a couple bombs too. So, I mean, look at go look at the pitches that he hits those home runs off of. Both of them were off the plate inside, and he pulls his hands in. I mean, the guy is one of the best. Kind of the Vlad Guerrero, one of the best bat ball hitters in the history of the game. I mean, look at the 2 pitches. Look at the 3 pitches he hit the home runs off of in the World Series in 2012. None of them were center cut. None of them were the pitches you see guys hit home runs off of these days, right in the middle or right over the middle of the plate. He hit one. I mean, the one ball on his last home run, but the home run before that pitch must have been a foot inside. I'm not kidding. He pulled his hands in and put it in the arcade at AT&T Park. So, I mean, this guy, whether he's going to keep him in the lineup when Bilt comes back, if they're going to find a spot for him, he had a game where he played second base. I think last week he played second base. So whether they're going to try and find a spot for him, if he's going to be putting Belt out, if they're going to have put Brandon Belt out in left field and put Pablo at first, because he's got a good glove too. I mean, you're going to start putting Longoria. I mean, you can't take Evan Longoria out of the lineup. That's the problem. I mean, he's here to hit, and he's not hitting terribly, but he's hitting he's doing all right. I mean, he's had few more bats than Pablo. If you want to look at Longoria's line, he's hitting 245 with 10 home runs, 31 RBIs, and basically double the amount of the bats that Pablo has. But you can't knock that. As the Giants, they need to get their production. They need to get McCutchen going. Brandon Crawford has had a excellent. He started off absolutely. I mean, he couldn't hit anything. Brandon Crawford couldn't. You could just underhand it to him, and he probably would get out. Now you could throw him anything, and he'll hit it. As he got kind of snubbed to that Player of the Month, but has picked up right where he left off in May, and has continued to hit the cover off the ball in June. So gotta like that if you are a Giants fan. With Brandon Crawford hitting well, as Joe Panik, also coming off the DL after his thumb injury, has also picked it up where he left off, get on base a lot, as he has supplanted him. I mean, I don't think he's really supplanted himself as that leadoff guy. Gorky Hernandez will have something to say about that, as he's also been another guy to surprise the Giants. He's got 6 home runs in the year, and I think he's hitting like 295 on the season with like a 500 on base percentage, which is great for a leadoff man. That's exactly what you want if you are the Giants. Yep. Yeah, I like that. Hold on. I'm going to look at Gorky's stats really quick here. As he's hitting 283 with 6 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 774 on base. OPS, that is. That's on base plus slugging. So, yeah, not bad right there for the Giants center fielder. He's probably pretty much cemented himself as that center fielder for the Giants, even though Austin Jackson's also there, but he has basically done the opposite. Hasn't done much at all. All right, we'll switch over to the Cubs a little bit here as we're coming close. I mean, this segment is slipping away from me already as I'm talking too much about the Giants, but the Cubs have really turned it around. Their pitching has figured itself out. They have the guys to do it. I mean, if Quintana can be good, he's excellent. And then Lester and Hendricks are very experienced starters, and then Tyler Chatwood, if he could just be around the strike zone, he's very effective. I mean, he throws hard. He's got a devastating slider. He just needs to be. The control is the problem for him. He can get a wild hair up his nose and start walking people, and what really spells him. I think he's walked in a few runs even this season too. So really, even when he needs to really bear down and throw strikes, he has trouble. If he can fix that and get it figured out there, the Cubs should be fine. They're getting big hits from Jason Hayward, obviously. Their lineup is. I mean, there's no complaints in their lineup. You can't knock the lineup. I mean, when you got Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant and Javier Baez, Wilson Contreras. I mean, there's bombs all over the place. Ben Zobrist, veteran hitter. I mean, these guys should be tearing the cover off the ball, but they're not hitting. That's the problem. That's why they're just now, or they weren't hitting. They're just now starting to hit, which is why they're creeping up now on the Brewers in the first place. That's now 11 games over 500, as they were, again, just like the Nationals, got off to a slow start, and took a while to finally get over to where they should be, probably, as we all expected coming into the season. They've won 8 of the last 10, which is always nice. And I want to look at their outlook really quick for the month of June, as the schedule is always fun to look at and kind of speculate as to where they're going to have troubles or what's going to be a test. Is they have a bunch of interdivision series this month, as they're going to start a series with the Pirates this weekend at home before they go to Milwaukee and then go to St. Louis. So this is going to be a tough stretch. Those are all teams that are over 500 and have been playing good baseball. Then they go home to play the Dodgers for a quick little 3-game series before going over to Cincinnati. That should be a fun one, and then going to LA as well. So the Dodgers also been playing good too. So tough month coming up for the Cubs. We'll see if they can come out. If they can come out with a winning record in this month, they should be just fine. The Pirates are still over 500, right? They're 31-31. They're right at 500. All right, and then American League East. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. This is great. I mean, this is almost like, I said, baseball season is like a marathon, and usually when marathon race, people like spread out. You go watch the Boston Marathon, the New York Marathon. They the front runner gets ahead by a lot and usually runs away with it. This is going to be a marathon where you have two guys running right next to each other basically the whole time. I mean, these two teams are not going to go away from each other. I feel like it's going to be like this the whole season. They have the first and second best record in the major leagues. The first two teams to 40 wins. The only two teams with 40 wins right now. Red Sox are 43-20, and the Yankees are 40-18. So, I mean, the Yankees obviously haven't played nearly as many games as the Red Sox due to the weather they've had. They're going to have I bet you a few more doubleheaders coming up here. They've already played one against the Tigers, so they'll probably think they're going to do another one next week during their off day, which is, I mean, that can be kind of draining. You get those off days. You don't want the off days at the beginning of the year. You want the off days at the end of the year. And if you have to fill up those off days at the end of the year with makeup games, that's not going to spell very good. Especially that rotation. That's the problem with the Yankees. I think that's why I'm not really confident in them this year, because the rotation is just so volatile. With Tanaka up and down, CC Sabathia is getting older. I mean, I love him. He's a great veteran, California guy. Got to love him. But is he going to be able to sustain this all season? I don't know. I just don't think so. I think the one thing that he has for him is that he tends to get some good run support. So when you're playing Yankee Stadium and you have that lineup, all those guys can get good run support. But sometimes especially at the end of the year, crunch time, playing the Red Sox, they have good arms too. They have Chris Sale, they have David Price, they have a knuckleballer, they have Eduardo. They have three very good lefties. That's the thing, is they have three good lefties. Fortunately for the Yankees, they've actually done a good job in stockpiling right-handed power with Judge and Stanton and Gary Sanchez, and even I think Torres is right-handed too. So the only real left-handed threat, the only big left-handed bats they have is Gregorius and Greg Bird. So everybody else from the right side, which is nice. But I mean, you have Rick Porcello too for the Red Sox. I mean, they got arms. The Yankees have Luis Severino, and if Sonny Gray can be like he was last game, that's great outlook for the season. But I mean, he's up and down. He's basically, if he can't get his curveball over for a strike, or if it's not biting out of the bottom of the strike zone like it is when it's really devastating, then he's just too reliant, way too reliant on the fastball, and his changeup can kind of float sometimes and become really, really hittable, and that's why you see him get knocked around in these games, because he just gets he loses his confidence in his off speed, and his fastball can be kind of straight. So the same thing with Tanaka as well, because Tanaka, both those guys have some amazing, devastating movement on their off speed pitches, but when they can't get them over for strikes, hitters will just spit on it. I mean, you're not going to make me chase if you get me in an account where I'm going to chase. I'm going to feel like I'm ahead in the count the whole time. So those guys can hopefully get some consistency going for the pinstripes. The men in pinstripes, at least, the old Yankees. And then out in the West, same kind of deal. I mean, not the same kind of deal. Same kind of deal more from the Mariners. I kind of feel like the Mariners are a little closer to the Yankees, where they Their rotation has a nice little top end to it with James Paxton. They obviously have Felix Hernandez, but the bottom end is a little question marky. Leake can be great. He can be bad. I mean, Wade LeBlanc is a nice addition to the rotation, but he isn't really the most pronounced starter. And then their lineup is fine. I mean, nothing wrong with their lineup. But then you got the thing is you have the Astros right underneath you, and I don't think that the Astros aren't going to go away anytime soon. This is going to be a team that's going to start reeling off some wins. I mean, they're 5-5 of the last 10, so they've had a little bit of troubles, but they're going to start reeling off some wins fast. And I think with that rotation, they can get on a 10-game winning streak like that, because it's basically just one time through rotation, getting good starts, and then one more time. That's 10. Boom, good bullpen. I mean, that's the one thing with the Astros, though. Their bullpen. Ken Giles got to figure that out. You can't be leaking runs. Cannot be leaking runs. That's why you guys are going to I mean, if that's going to happen, you are not going to be in the postseason very long, because they'll make the playoffs. I'm not afraid of the Astros. Not questioning the fact that they'll make the playoffs, but because I think they'll win the division. Unless if Seattle can sustain it, if Seattle wins the West, that'd be a crazy wild card game. If the Red Sox and the Mariners win the American League, win their divisions, that means it would likely be an Astros-Yankees wild card game, which would be crazy. I think I talked about it a little bit on Wednesday. That'll be a rematch of the ALCS last year, but in the wild card game. And it would likely be Justin Verlander against Luis Severino, which would be one for the ages. Fortunately for the Astros, if they do have to go to the wild card game, it's not a big deal. It's not like the Yankees. If they win that game, who are you going to pitch in game one against the Red Sox? Or likely the Red Sox, if they are the top, have a top record in the American League, are the number one seed, they'll play that team coming off the wild card game. Who are you going to pitch in game one against the Red Sox if you're the Yankees? Severino just pitched the wild card game. Tanaka, Sabathia, I don't know. You don't really have another guy. The Astros do. The Astros have Garrett Cole. They have Dallas Keuchel. You can just pick. Lance McCullers could do it. I mean, pick your poison. Verlander can come back for game 3. So, I mean, that's what I have to say about that. All right. That'll wrap it up for this segment, as we'll come back and do some talk on the games upcoming for the weekend, and we'll preview all those matchups. We're going to see a bunch of guys for the Nationals. I did talk about the weekend of mismatches out in the nation's capital, as I'm sure there's some people celebrating out there, as well as their hockey team has won the championship, the Stanley Cup out there. So congrats again to the Washington Capitals, as we'll come back and do some talk on the Nationals and their series with the Giants and the rest of the series for the weekend. So stay tuned.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast, as we are going to preview the games for the weekend coming up in Major League Baseball, as we're going to have a series, like I said, the series in the nation's capital with Giants and Nationals, as both teams trying to jockey for position in their divisions, as we just talk about a little bit about both those divisions in the last segment. The Brewers and the Phillies will be getting a series started, as those are a pair of teams that are Brewers trying to hold off the Cubs in first place. Who are looking for first place right now in the National League Central. Phillies, I think they dropped into third place, but close was there. I think they're only a couple games back. 3 games back now, as they've lost 7 of the last 10, which is a problem right now for the Phillies. They need to turn that around if they want to get back into the mix. All right, Brewers, Philly. They got plenty of time. We're not worried about it. So it's going to be Suter against Jake Arrieta today. Actually, that's tomorrow. We want to go Friday really quickly here. It's going to be Ulysses Chassin against Velasquez for the Phillies, as that'll be a 4:05 Pacific time start. Chassin's 4-1 with a 3.39 ERA. Velasquez 4-6 with a 3.82 ERA. Cubs and Pirates in Chicago. It'll be Chad Kuhl against Mike Montgomery in this one, as they are going to play that Friday day game, as they do in Chicago a lot, because of the I think it's a noise ordinance or lights. They can't have the lights in the weekdays, something like that, so they have to have the day game on Fridays. It'll be Chad Kuhl, who's 4-3 with a 3.86 ERA against Montgomery, 1-1 with a 3.89 ERA for the Cubs. And then the Giants Nationals, I think we talked about already, Suarez and Strasburg. Suarez 2-4 with a 4.74 ERA. Strasburg 6-5 with a 5.32 ERA for the Nationals. Orioles and Blue Jays get an American League East Division matchup going as Andrew Kashner against Jay Happ. Kashner's 2-7 with a 5.02 ERA. Happ 7-3. He's had a nice little start to the season with a 4.08 ERA. White Sox and Red Sox, Battle of the Sox going in Boston. There'll be Chris Sale in this one for the Red Sox against Covey for the White Sox. They continue to just roll out these young pitchers. He's a righty who is 1-1 with a 2.82 ERA, so he's pitching pretty well against Sale, who's 5-3 with a 3.00 ERA on the season. And then in Detroit, it'll be Indians and Tigers going, as there'll be Trevor Bauer against Carson Fulmer, as they will make that Mike Fulmer against. So there'll be an American League Central Division matchup. Bauer's 4-4 with a 2.77 ERA. Fulmer 2-5 with a 4.73 ERA for the Tigers. Padres and Marlins going in Miami. It'll be Carson Smith against Lauer for the Padres, as he's 2-3 with a 6.82 ERA. He wants to get that down. Smith's 4-6 with a 4.03 ERA for the Marlins. And then the Subway Series will get started today, as they'll play over the weekend. It'll be Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees. He's 7-2 with a 7-2. That means 7-2 with a 4.79 ERA. That means run support. That means run support. He's not. That means he allows every 9 innings. He allows almost 5 runs every 9 innings. So I mean, that's run support right there. And he's facing Jacob deGrom, who's 4-0 with a 1.49 ERA. He's been excellent this season, but has not gotten the run support. I mean, when you are only got 4 wins, I mean, Tanaka's got 3 more wins than him, and he allows almost 4 runs more, or 3 runs more a game, or every 9 innings. That is. Than deGrom. That's just the difference between bats hitting. Mariners and Rays in Tampa Bay. It'll be Marco Gonzalez against Wilmer Font, who will get the start. That's the Rays going with the reliever to start the game off, as they'll go with the reliever to start off before they give it to the long man there. Gonzalez is 6-3 with a 3.38 ERA, by the way, on his season. Cardinals and Reds. National League Central Division matchup. It'll be Luke Weaver against Matt Harvey for the Reds, as he makes another start. Harvey's 1-4 with a 5.79 ERA on the season. Weaver 3-5 with a 4.12 ERA on the year for the Cardinals. Battle of Texas continues, as they have that 4-game series throughout the weekend. Justin Verlander goes today for the Astros against Doug Fister for the Rangers, and this one, as Verlander looks for his 8th win on the season. In Minnesota, it'll be Angels and Twins. Garrett Richards against Lance Lynn, and this one, a pair of right-handers, both looking for their 5th win, as they have very similar, the same record at 4-4. Richards a little better with a 3.25 ERA compared to Lynn's 5.46 ERA. In Colorado, a National League Western Division matchup. This is the top 2 teams in the National League West, as this is a big series. Coming up here, it'll be Zach Greinke against Jermaine Marquez, as Greinke's 4-4 with a 3.44 ERA. Marquez 4-5 with a 4.38 ERA. And then the final 2 games, Royals A's. It'll be Jacob Junis against Montas for the A's. Montas has been great. He's 2-0 with a 0.64 ERA in and only a handful of starts there. And then the Braves and Dodgers. It'll be McCarthy against Walker Buehler, who's been excellent in his young career for the Dodgers. He's 3-1 with a 2.74 ERA against Brandon McCarthy, 5-2 with a 4.83 ERA. All right, that was for Friday. That's today. Went through all the games. Now for the Saturday and Sunday, we're going to highlight just a few of the games that are coming up this weekend. Obviously, we're going to see Max Scherzer on Sunday against the Giants. But I want to do some good pitching matchups, as we have some good series going on this weekend. But Braves Dodgers will be a good one, as well as the Giants and the Nationals. Some division matchups. Phillies and Brewers is a good one that I'm definitely going to pay attention to. over the weekend is Saturday's game. It'll be, like I said, Arrieta going for the Phillies against Suter for the Brewers. And this one, in Chicago on Saturday, John Lester will be going against Nick Kingham for the Pirates. Kingham's 2-2 with a 4.03 ERA, 30 strikeouts. Lester 6-2 with a 2.44 ERA, 61 strikeouts on the season for Lester, as they'll go on Saturday day game for out there at the friendly confines. And then David Price will go against a starter. The White Sox have not figured out who they're going to put on the mound against David Price tomorrow, but it'll be David Price for the Red Sox against a starter to be determined for the White Sox. In Detroit, it'll be Steve Clevenger or Mike Fiers against Mike Clevenger for the Cleveland Indians. Clevenger is 4-2 with a 3.36 ERA, 64 strikeouts. Fiers 5-3 with a 4.33 ERA, 42 strikeouts on the season for that right-hander. As they'll both be looking to get another win on their feather, another feather in their cap. The right-handers there in that American League Central Division tilt. In Miami, Tyson Ross against Dan Straley. Blake Snell this is a good little matchup here in Tampa Bay. Felix Hernandez against Blake Snell, as Hernandez looks to get his ERA down. He's got some good run support in this one. He's 6-4 with a 5.33 ERA, 62 strikeouts. As you see a high ERA, but he still has 6 wins. Got some run support against Blake Snell, who's 7-3 with a 2.38, a cool 2.38 ERA, 88 strikeouts. As he has definitely been the best and most consistent pitcher for the Rays this season. No doubt about that. As he will get the ball on Saturday at home. Some more games. It'll be Anibal Sanchez against Alex Wood in L.A. Dodgers and Braves, as they both look for their second win on the year. Only Woods had issues. He's 1-4 with a 4.48 ERA. Sanchez 1-0 with a 2.16 ERA. In Texas, it'll be Charlie Morton against Mike Minor, as Morton looks for his 8th win on the season. He's 7-1 with a 2.84 ERA on the season. Nicely done. Nicely there for Morton. As he's the 5th starter, by the way, I think, unless it's in the colors for the Astros. He's 7-1. Michael Wacha against Luis Castillo, Cardinals and Reds, as they'll get that series continuing in Cincinnati. Walker's 7-1 with a 2.41 ERA against Castillo's 4-6 with a 5.64 ERA for the Reds. All right, and then Sunday's games. Max Scherzer, like I said, will be going for the Nationals against Derek Holland for the Giants. Scherzer's 10-1 with a 1.95 ERA. Holland 3-4 with a 4.91 ERA on the season. 133 strikeouts for Max Scherzer. 133 strikeouts. Derek Holland is 53. 80 more strikeouts for Max Scherzer. That's a differential right there. Right, that's wow. In Detroit, it'll be Corey Kluber going for the Indians against Lewicki for the Tigers. Artie Lewicki, who made spot starters last time, as he did show some good stuff against a strong offense against the Red Sox. He did allow 2 earned runs, 4 total against them, and the last time out took the loss. And then Dallas Keuchel for the Astros against Matt Moore, a pair of left-handers out there. Keuchel still looking to right the ship a little bit. He's 3-8 with a 4.13 ERA, 8 losses on the season already for Keuchel, as I don't think he had 8 losses in the last 2 seasons combined. I'm going to look at that one, but as I think he's just kind of just getting stink bitten sometimes by the lack of runs scored for the Astros. They had some same kind of thing with the Indians. They had some trouble scoring runs earlier in the season. Matt Moore, though, he gives up a lot of runs, as he is 1-5 with a 7.47 ERA. I don't know. The Rangers must not have any like starters in their prospects. Like, do they have anybody they can at least try it out there? I don't know. Matt Moore is just that's weird. Giants had dumped him, and he's not pitching very well. And then the marquee matchup of the day in or of the night. I guess it's going to be a night game in New York. The Subway Series continues out there in Flushing, New York, as the Mets are the host of this one. Luis Severino against Noah Syndergaard. And, of course, ESPN jumps right at that and says, we're going to put that on ESPN. As it is going to be Sunday Night Baseball. Severino against Syndergaard. Severino's 9-1 with a 2.20 ERA. Syndergaard 4-1 with a 3.06 ERA. As you see there, that 5-win differential is right there. Is probably run support, number one. And just being able to get a lead as the Yankees bats have been a little better than the Mets this season, to say the least. And then looking over here, Rick Porcello for the Red Sox against Ronaldo Lopez for the White Sox. Porcello's 8-2 with a 3.59 ERA on the season for the Red Sox. And then in Tampa Bay, it'll be James Paxton making a start against Nathan Eovaldi. Eovaldi's 1-1 with a 3.27 ERA in 2 starts as he came back from his Tommy John. And James Paxton 5-1 with a 2.95 ERA. He's been excellent, becoming the ace of that staff out there in Seattle. And then Carlos Martinez makes another start for the Cardinals as he's been dealing with some injuries, but now he's back, and he's 3-2 with a 1.83 ERA. Excellent, as he's again become him and Wainwright, I guess, is still there, but Carlos Martinez really becoming the ace of that staff out there in St. Louis as well. And then looking over the rest of these games, Kyle Hendricks goes for the Cubs against Musgrove for the Pirates on Sunday as well. Hendricks is 4-5 with a 3.59 ERA against Musgrove. Is 2-1 with a 1.89 ERA. He's been pitching well in the first few starts he's had this season. All right, that'll wrap it up for the show today. As we did go over a bunch of stuff, we talked about the games from later this week, yesterday and Wednesday, and then I talked Giants, Cubs, AL West, the division races, 2 teams in the top of the divisions. Talked about maybe some scenarios we're going to see with the wild card game coming in October. But obviously, like I keep saying, it's a sprint, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And there's definitely some teams out there who are prepared for this long haul as we get into the hot, long days of summer. As that's when baseball is its best. Is obviously the NBA finals are almost over, and we'll have some golf. Obviously, the U.S. Open's coming up, but baseball will be king. It will be the number one and only thing on TV really for the next few weeks. Once the finals wraps up, the Stanley Cup playoffs are done, and we'll have, like I said, the golf in a couple weeks here too, as well as the pairings have actually come out for the U.S. Open too. So everybody who are golf fans, go look at that. Tiger's playing with Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas this over there in Shinnecock, as they will get going, I think, this weekend or next weekend for the U.S. Open. Yeah, no, it's next weekend. Yeah, so obviously I think today's this week something is one of the warm-ups. It's next weekend, as the U.S. Open is in Long Island this year. All right, that'll wrap it up. We'll do some more baseball talk next on Monday. Everybody had a good weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday. So have a good weekend. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.